Hello YouTube. So I did a poll a while ago with 4 different topics, and the first one was how to tell if you're being manipulated or taken advantage of, and then the next one, voted the highest, was how I'm starting to accept myself. First of all, there's a huge update. Last month, October, like end of September, I think, I put up this one video, and it went viral, and my life has changed since then. Like, everything has changed, and I know it sounds so crazy, but my entire, I feel like my brain has been rewired. So that first video has 700,000 views now. I mean, like, I've had several that have more than 50,000 views, 100,000 views. I calculated like last week or a couple weeks ago, collectively like 2 million views. So 2 million people plus the 10,000 people from YouTube who originally saw my I'm Autistic video, plus all of the views since then on YouTube and some things on Instagram. I have a lot of people who have seen my face, who know me, who know my story. It's just so new and so weird. Like, everything has changed, and so I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity. Like, I am still on this crazy, if you want to see how extreme it's gotten, I had 200 followers and now I have 17,000 on TikTok. Thank you so much, and I just want to say thank you, especially if you came from TikTok and you followed, and the biggest thank you to those of you who have been there for me since day one, when I had nothing, when I had 37 subscribers on YouTube. You guys have been here for coming up 2 years, so thank you so much for that, and thank you. And I'm ready to start this video. So once again, I have written notes. This is gonna be a very organized video. So how am I starting to accept myself? The first thing I do is I recognize my weaknesses, and I'm so congested. That's my weakness. I thought about it. I really put some thought into this. Don't talk about my Christmas decorations. Okay, don't talk about the backdrop engine. I don't want to go into it, but I'm not super fond of Thanksgiving, after finding out what really happened. And that's just I'm just going straight to Christmas. So I recognize my weaknesses. Sometimes you don't have to recognize them. Sometimes people point them out. I recognize those weaknesses. Once I can see them, I see that I don't have patience for things I'm not interested in, I can start to accept it, but I have to acknowledge it first, The next thing I do is I journal. Journaling, talking about how I feel. Next, I allow myself to take breaks. I also wrote, in addition to that, I allow myself to give up. I allow myself to fail. I allow myself to give up. I allow myself to take breaks. Because those are things that are a natural part of life. And when I say I allow myself to give up, at some point, you have to turn the computer off. You have to turn the TV off. You have to unplug it. Next one, I look for things that I'm good at. Not that hard. There are things that, there's little things, everyone's different, but there are little things I'm good at. The next one, I pick my environments myself. If I don't want to go to the club today, I'm not going. You want to have as much control over your own life as possible. So if you don't have a whole lot of control over your life, control what you can. You can also limit, you don't have to just not be in the environment. But at McDonald's, I'll get coffee and nothing else. It's not like I can eat anything else, but I felt like they would always mess up my order. They have a hard job, but they'd always mess up my order, and it's just I can limit what I order from them, or if I go to them, or how often I go to them, that sort of thing. Next, I take advice with a grain of salt, or 4 whatever. If I accidentally got gasoline all over my car because I wasn't holding the gas pump thing correctly, I might tell someone, oh, be careful, you don't want to get gasoline all over your car. And yes, it's true, but it was more motivated from a fear that I had. And so when you're taking others' advice, take the advice, but don't let it overcome you, basically. Number 7, I haven't been counting, but I did number these. I accept my features. And this is let me just explain to you, these ads, there's so many ads throughout this one video. I don't even know if it's been an ad this whole time. It probably has been. That's okay. Accepting my features. So I remember in 7th grade, and I've talked about this, I cut off all of my hair because I didn't accept myself. I used to get my hair straightened and it was stiff, all the time, and I would get bullied for it. Instead of trying so much harder to fit in. I just decided to just cut it all off and just accept myself for who I was. Like, I just went natural and I just grew out my hair. Still got bullied for it. I was called a little boy, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. It didn't really matter. But I learned that I should accept myself because, like, why would I tamper with myself that much? I'm not saying that you can't tamper with yourself, but for me, it just wasn't something that I wanted to do. And tampering with myself didn't give me more confidence. It didn't make me feel better. For some people, it makes them feel better. They finally feel like, oh, well, this is me. This is how I'm supposed to feel. This is how I'm supposed to look. But for me, it wasn't like that. It was the opposite. And for example, like, I wear makeup. Not everyone wears makeup. And it's not that I don't accept myself. It's just that I feel like this is me. Like this is me. Like, this is how I feel on the inside. This is how I want to reflect that on the outside. People might ask, like, why don't you get a retwist? Isn't it time for a retwist? I just kind of think, like, well, that's not me right now. Like, I don't want one. I accept others and I celebrate others for who they are. You can always tell how someone feels about themselves based on how they treat other people. I found this to be pretty solid. I've also had to learn that this isn't always like, you know, like, there are people who feel like crap about themselves and they still treat people with respect. I realized through therapy that I don't have to be nice to people who are mean to me. I don't have to. That is a choice that I make. But also on top of that, you have to be careful with, like, I realized that the reason I was so overly nice to people who didn't like me and people who were mean to me, and I mean, like, blatantly disrespectful and mean, I was so overly nice to them and I felt bad for myself for being mistreated. I realized that the reason I was being so nice to them was because I didn't, like, love myself enough. Like, I didn't accept myself for who I was. I didn't love myself. And that's why I was so overly nice to people who mistreated me, because I wanted them to see something in me that I didn't even try to see in myself. So I think that that's just like, that's like a whole video. Like, what I just said was so deep. And like, I feel like I need to smile, but I literally can't. I'm having a really hard time controlling my face in this video. I don't know. I think it's just something to think about. I celebrate other people. You know, someone who hasn't really found themselves, like, I celebrate them. Or someone who has found themselves, I'm like, man, that's like this person's like someone to look up to. Like, this is someone who overcame this and overcame that. Like, it's so nice. Like, even if someone's like strange to most people, like, that's a unique individual. Like, I appreciate seeing unique individuals and individuality, like, a lot. Number 9, I shortened the amounts of time that I feel guilt. This sounds silly to me. Like, it sounds weird. It sounds really weird. But there's a period of time, there are different periods of times where you'll feel guilt. Like, if I step on my dog's toes, like, I feel bad. I feel really bad. He's just really small, so it happens. Do I feel bad all day? No, I don't feel bad all day. But I feel bad for, like, 3 minutes probably, because he bounces back, and so I'm like, oh, okay, he's fine. Like, if it's a mistake at work and it's just like something that, like, is there an ad playing? I'm actually getting upset about these ads, and I'm trying to, like, hold it together. They're really pissing me off today. I'm gonna report this video if this keeps happening. Like, I'm just gonna play a different one. Don't get upset, please. Please don't get upset. I just really hate ads. Like, please don't, like, tell the creators of the video to, like, take me down. My bad. I take it back. I shorten my guilt time. So, like, if I'm at work and I make a mistake, and I feel like it's a pretty easily correctable mistake, and someone's just like, oh, you shouldn't have done it like this, blah, blah, blah. I shorten my guilt times. I spend more time alone, and this is really nice because I get to kind of see what I'm like when no one's watching. I get to do what I want. I don't have to talk to anyone if I don't want to. I just, like, enjoy solitude. Number 11, I talk about my autism online. I think it's the best thing I've ever done for myself. Like, I'm not even joking. Has changed my life forever. And different people who are autistic who I have met online and stuff like that, and they talk about their autism online, and I imagine it helps tremendously. Number 12, I support others who are doing the right things. If I see someone doing something really good, I support them, and that kind of helps me, you know? I don't treat myself badly anymore. And I feel like this is something that was more as far as mental health went. I did have to, like I was so mean to myself, and having a pact with myself, like, I'm not gonna mistreat myself anymore, is something that made it better. but also getting medicated. I think it's so important, like, knowing that depression and stuff, like, those are actual physical issues that need to be treated, either with medicine or if you want to do it holistically or therapy, like, that's something that needs to be treated. So, like, I think that a lot of the mistreatment towards myself was a biological issue, like a physical issue in my brain. Having treated that and being able to get back on track and, like, doing this, like, and going to therapy, like, it's just been so helpful. I stopped seeing criticisms as attacks. How do I do that? It's, like, deep inside, and you're like, dang, like, I must be a horrible person. Don't go to the extremes. You're not a horrible person. One thing I like to do is think about how much worse of a person I could be. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm not that bad. And then the other thing is, like, just the perspective of, like, if I spill gasoline all over my car, like, I'm gonna have a propensity to be afraid of that. So a lot of people's criticisms and stuff and critiques could be fear-based. It could be based on their childhood or their adulthood or an experience that they had. Well, you shouldn't wear too much makeup because blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, where'd you get that from? Well, I heard this one story about blah, 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 blah. It doesn't really matter, like, what they said. It's more so their intent behind it. So seeing the intent, is this person, like, actually concerned for me? Are they afraid themselves? These are all things that you want to consider before you just take the criticism, but also kind of think of it a little bit and then erase it from your mind if it's not helpful. I'm going to talk about this just for a second. I'm done, okay? I do my makeup and my hair for myself. I dress for myself, and sometimes, like, of course, I, like, fall back and I'm like, dang, I don't know, this person's gonna be there, like, I want to dress up, or, like, you know, stuff like that. Like, outside of that, like, everyday stuff, like, if I look like crap outside, like, I look like crap outside, you know what I mean? And, like, especially if I'm, like, sick, like, I'm sick right now, but basically just, like, remembering things like that, like, it's okay, it is okay, like, you'll be fine, just do things for yourself. I want to do this, and that's it. Like, there's nothing else attached, just, like, I want to do this, I'm gonna do it. Or, like, I should really stop playing games all the time. Like, it's bad. Like, everyone says it's bad for you and you become a shut-in. I'm just gonna do it. This is what I want to do. I'm gonna do it, right? I say no to even little things that people want me to do. Not because I want to just be difficult, but saying no is a practice, and now I've gotten so much better at it. And even though I still say yes, like, to things I don't want to do, I do it so much, like, I don't do it nearly as much, and I just renege, like, immediately. Like, I literally just renege, just like, I thought it was gonna be an ad. I just renege, like... Like, I'll be like, yes. And then, like, 3 minutes later, I'll be like, you know, I actually didn't mean that. I don't want to do it. And, like, I just feel so good about that. I feel so good. It's better than reneging, like, 3 days later after you said that you would, and, like, the event or whatever is in a few hours. So that's what I do. The last thing, this is the best advice. This is the best advice. You take nothing else from this. Take this advice. I spend time around people who accept themselves. Not people who love themselves. Not people who are seeking success, not people who, I don't know, blah, 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 like, not rich people. I hang around people who accept themselves, and this is, like, this has nothing to do with, like, if they're successful or if they have everything that I want. This is just people accepting themselves. It comes from every single race, social class, socioeconomic status, job. That, like, there are people who are neurosurgeons that don't like themselves, millionaires that don't like themselves, artists and actors, like, who don't like themselves, who don't accept themselves more so. Like, being around people who accept themselves, it's just different. You want to find someone who accepts themselves, who is also a good person. I'm not talking about people who, like, love themselves, like I was saying, like, completely self-absorbed and, like, not caring about what other people think, being, like, overly confident and self-accepting, but just someone who's literally just okay, like, someone who really enjoys their life, you know? That's been the most helpful thing for me. Well, let me know what you guys think. Okay, like I said, I'm having a hard time with my facial expression, so thank you guys so much for watching, and bye. Wait, no. Please do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I never know how to ask that. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.